It was a quiet night in the Sierra Nevada foothills. The stars above twinkled in a clear sky. A cool breeze moved through the tall pine trees outside the small house where Ayla Jordan lived with her young son, Eli. Their home was peaceful, far from the noise of cities. Ayla loved it that way. After years of serving as a field medic during global relief missions, she had finally found a place to raise her son in peace. But that peace was about to break. Eli was already asleep, curled up with his stuffed dog. Ayla sat in the living room sipping tea and reading a book. Suddenly a strange light flashed across the sky. It was not a shooting star. It moved faster, brighter, and closer. It left a glowing trail of blue fire behind it. Then, a sound, loud, deep, and sharp, shook the house. The light crashed somewhere in the woods behind her backyard. Birds flew from the trees. The ground trembled slightly under her feet. Ayla stood up quickly. Her heart beat faster. That was no normal crash. Something had fallen. Something big. She grabbed a flashlight, a jacket, and her small emergency kit. She left a note for Eli in case he woke up and stepped into the cold night. The forest behind her house was dark and silent. The air smelled like smoke and burning metal. She followed the broken branches and scorched ground until she saw it. There, half buried in a crater, was a small silver pod, about the size of a car. It hissed and steamed. Strange symbols glowed along its surface. It was nothing she had ever seen before, not a satellite, not a drone, not any human technology. Then she heard it, a soft, weak sound. A cry. Not human. Ayla rushed forward. A small door on the pod had popped open. Inside, wrapped in torn silver fabric, was a child, not a human child. It was small, with soft blue-gray skin that shimmered faintly. Its eyes were large and glowing, like 2 drops of starlight. Thin tendrils ran along its arms, glowing dimly. It looked hurt, scared, and very, very young. Ayla didn't move for a moment. Her mind raced with questions. Was this real? Was it safe? But then the child whimpered again and reached out a small hand toward her. Ayla didn't hesitate. She stepped forward, gently lifted the child into her arms, and held it close. Its skin was warm. It clung to her like it had known her forever. "It's okay," she whispered, though she wasn't sure the child understood. "You're safe now." Back at the house, Ayla locked the doors and closed all the curtains. She laid the child on the couch and checked it for injuries. One arm was swollen and it had a deep cut on its leg. Carefully, she cleaned and bandaged the wounds. The child didn't cry. It just looked at her with those wide, glowing eyes. Eli stirred in his room but didn't wake up. Ayla covered the alien child with a warm blanket and sat beside it, still unsure if this was a dream. What kind of being was this? Where did it come from? Why had it crashed? But none of that mattered right now. It was hurt. It was scared. And it was just a child. She decided to call it Luma, because of the gentle light it gave off. The next morning, Eli woke up and found Luma on the couch. His eyes went wide with surprise but not fear. "Is it an alien?" he whispered. Ayla nodded. "I think so. Her name is Luma. She needs our help." Eli didn't run. He didn't scream. He just walked over slowly and sat beside the glowing child. Luma looked at him, tilted her head, and then reached out a hand. Eli took it. "Hi," he said. "I'm Eli. You can stay here with us." Luma smiled. Later that day, Ayla went back to the crash site. She didn't stay long. There were strange flying machines in the sky now. Not planes, not helicopters, something else. Something watching. She grabbed what she could from the pod, a small silver box, a broken tablet with glowing lines, and a strange metal band. Then she covered the crater with leaves and branches. She didn't want anyone to find it. Back at home, she studied the alien tech. The tablet didn't respond to her touch. The box hummed softly, and the metal band tightened slightly around her wrist like it was alive. She didn't understand any of it, but Luma seemed calmer now. She had eaten some soft food, drank warm water, and fallen asleep beside Eli, who held her like a little sister. Ayla watched them. Something in her heart changed. She had always been strong, always ready to protect, but now she felt something deeper, like a new purpose had entered her life. This child had fallen from the stars, scared and alone. But now, maybe, she had found a home. Ayla didn't know what would come next. She didn't know who was looking, for Luma, or what dangers might follow. But she knew one thing. She would protect this child, just like a mother. Ayla woke up to the sound of laughter. At first she thought she was dreaming, but when she walked into the living room, she saw Eli and Luma playing together. Eli had made a small tower using blocks. Luma, still wrapped in the soft blanket Ayla had given her, was trying to stack the blocks using her tiny glowing fingers. Every time the tower fell, she made a quiet humming sound that almost sounded like a giggle. Eli laughed with her. Ayla stood quietly and watched. It felt like something magical was happening in her home. Luma was learning quickly. She couldn't speak yet, but she copied Eli's movements and followed Ayla around the house. Her glowing skin changed colors slightly depending on her emotions, blue when she was calm, soft green when she was curious, and pink when she was happy. Later that day, Ayla sat down with her laptop and searched the internet for any news. Strange lights in the sky, power surges, and loud booms had been reported across the region. People were guessing all kinds of things: meteors, secret planes, even aliens. But nothing was confirmed. Still, it worried Ayla. She returned to the crash site that evening. The air still smelled of smoke and metal. The silver pod was quiet now, cold. She checked the area carefully. There were boot prints nearby. Large, fresh ones. Someone had been here. Back home, Ayla felt a growing sense of danger. She knew she couldn't keep Luma hidden forever. Someone, maybe a government or some secret group, was looking for her. But for now, Luma was safe, and Ayla wanted to give her as much peace as possible. That night, she noticed something strange. Luma had fallen asleep early, holding Eli's hand. Ayla sat nearby, reading. Suddenly she felt a presence, a soft warmth in her mind, like someone whispering without words. Then, a vision filled her thoughts. A great ship, floating in dark space. Fire. Panic. A woman, tall, graceful, with glowing skin like Luma, crying out as she placed her child into a small escape pod. Her face was filled with sadness and love. The vision faded. Ayla gasped and looked around. The room was still. Luma and Eli were still asleep. What was that? Ayla whispered to herself. She didn't imagine it. Somehow she had seen a memory. Luma's memory, or maybe someone else's. Was the child sending it to her? The next morning, Ayla noticed Luma acting differently. She stared at the sky more, her glow dimmer than before. When Ayla sat beside her, Luma placed a hand on Ayla's arm, and for a brief moment that warmth returned. Another vision came. The same woman, now wounded, her ship spinning in space. Her thoughts were not words but feelings, pain, hope, and a powerful desire to find her daughter. Ayla's eyes filled with tears. This wasn't just any alien child. She had a mother, one who was alive, lost, and searching. Ayla gently placed her hand over Luma's. "We'll find her, I promise." That evening, Ayla drove into town to visit someone who might help. His name was Milo Vance, an old friend of her late husband. He was a radio engineer who loved to build strange machines and listen to signals from space. Milo lived, alone in a cabin full of wires, antennas, and blinking lights. He welcomed Ayla in with a smile. "You don't visit often," he said. "What brings you out here?" Ayla hesitated. She had never told anyone about Luma, but she trusted Milo. "I need your help, picking up a signal. Something not from Earth." Milo raised his eyebrows. "You serious?" She nodded. It's important. Really important. Milo agreed without more questions. They worked for hours, setting up a stronger signal booster and scanning deep space frequencies. At first, there was only static. But then, a sound, soft and rhythmic. Not human speech. More like a hum mixed with light pulses. Ayla leaned forward. That's it. Milo looked amazed. What is that? Ayla smiled sadly. A mother, calling for her child. Back at home, Eli and Luma had fallen asleep together again. Ayla sat by the window, watching the stars. She wondered how far away Sirali, the alien, mother might be. Was she hurt? Alone? Was she hearing the signal? Suddenly, a low hum passed through the house. The metal band on Ayla's wrist, one she had taken from the pod, started to glow faintly. Then she heard it again. Not with her ears. In her mind. A voice. Soft. Echoing. Full of longing. Luma. I'm near. Ayla's heart pounded. Sirali was alive. She had heard the signal. She was coming. But that also meant time was running out. If Sirali could find Earth, so could others, who might not come with peace. The next morning, Ayla made a decision. She sat Luma down, looked into her glowing eyes, and said gently, Your mother is close. We'll help her find you. Luma touched Ayla's cheek. Her eyes glowed brighter, this time with hope. Eli, still holding his toy spaceship, looked up. Are we going to space? Ayla laughed softly. Not yet, but space might be coming to us. Outside, dark aircraft moved silently across the sky. But inside their little home, love and trust were growing. And that was the beginning of something much bigger than anyone could imagine. The sky was cloudy the next morning. A light rain fell over the forest, making the trees drip and the ground soft underfoot. Ayla stood by the window holding a warm cup of tea. She watched the road near her house, alert and tense. There had been more strange aircraft in the sky last night, smooth, dark shapes that made no sound. They did not look like normal helicopters or planes. Whoever they were searching. And Ayla had a feeling they were looking for Luma. But there was no time for fear now. Luma sat beside Eli, carefully turning the pages of a picture book. Though she couldn't read the words, she smiled every time Eli pointed to something and said its name. She copied him in her soft, echoing voice. Tree, Eli said. Tree, Luma repeated, her voice gentle and curious. Sky. Sky. Mom. Luma looked up and smiled at Ayla. Ayla smiled back, her heart full. In just a few days, Luma had become a part of their family. It was easy to forget for a moment that she had come from the stars. But Ayla hadn't forgotten the visions, the emotional messages sent through Luma. And last night's whisper had confirmed it. Luma's mother was alive. Later that day, Ayla returned to Milo Vance's cabin. The old radio engineer was already waiting for her, standing beside his tall antennas and blinking equipment. I recorded the signal from last night, he said. It changed. He played it. The sound was strange, almost like a melody made from wind and light. But underneath, Ayla felt something more. Not in her ears, but in her chest. Sadness. Hope. Love. She's getting closer, Ayla said softly. I think she's trying to reach us. Milo scratched his head. You sure this is safe? If someone else hears this, they'll come too. No, Ayla said. But we can't stop now. She's a mother. She deserves to find her child. Milo nodded. Then let's help her. They worked all afternoon using solar power to boost the signal. They aimed it straight into the sky, hoping that somewhere far above Sirali, Luma's mother, would hear them and come. That evening, Ayla sat outside with Luma under the cloudy sky. The stars were hidden, but they both looked up anyway. Your mother is strong, Ayla whispered. She didn't give up, just like you didn't. Luma turned her glowing eyes to Ayla and gently placed her hand on Ayla's chest. A warm feeling filled Ayla's heart again, and for a moment, her mind opened to a new vision. This time it was clearer. Sirali, inside a dark and broken spaceship, floated weakly near a glowing console. Her skin was bruised and her energy dimmed, but her eyes, Luma's eyes, still shone. She reached out toward a screen, showing a small image of Earth. Luma. Earth. Safe. Then the vision faded. Ayla opened her eyes and looked at Luma. "She's found us," she whispered. "She's on her way." The next day brought more challenges. Ayla drove into town to buy supplies, but something felt off. Two men in black uniforms stood near the general store, quietly asking questions. One of them showed a strange device to the store owner, who shook his head and pointed toward the forest. Ayla turned away before they could see her. Her hands tightened on the steering wheel. Whoever these people were, they weren't ordinary police. They were tracking something, or someone. She drove home quickly. That night she made a plan. If things went wrong, if those men got too close, she would take Eli and Luma into the mountains. She had supplies, maps, and a hidden cabin they could use. She didn't want to run, but she would if she had to. Still, she hoped she wouldn't need to, because the signal worked. At midnight, the metal band on Ayla's wrist glowed brightly. Luma sat up in bed, her eyes wide with light. A soft pulse echoed through the house like a heartbeat made of sound and color. Then Ayla heard the voice again, clearer now, closer. "Luma, I am near. I hear you." Ayla held Luma close. "She's almost here," she said, "just a little longer." But outside, the dark aircraft returned. This time they were lower. Lights scanned the forest. Someone else had heard the signal too. The following morning, a gentle knock came at the door. Ayla's heart skipped. She looked through the window but saw no one. Then a small object dropped from above. It was silver and round, glowing softly. Ayla picked it up. A projection appeared, a small glowing image of Sirali. She looked tired, her skin pale, but her voice was calm and strong. "I am close. I need help. I will come to the place where the signal is strongest. Thank you, kind one, for protecting my child." The message ended. Ayla showed it to Luma. The child's eyes filled with tears, glowing softly. She touched the message gently. As if trying to hug it, Eli placed his arm around her. "We'll help your mom," he said. "Don't worry." Ayla looked at the forest beyond the window. Trouble was coming, but so was hope. The time had come to do more than protect Luma. It was time to prepare for her mother's arrival and make sure they were ready when that moment came. Whatever happened next, Ayla knew one thing. She was not just helping an alien child. She was helping a family become whole again. The air was tense in Ayla's home. The nights had grown quiet, too quiet. The soft sound of wind in the trees felt heavier now, like something was watching. Luma stayed close to Ayla and Eli. Her glow had dimmed again, not from illness, but from worry. She could feel something approaching, something not friendly. Ayla had prepared a small bag with clothes, food, and supplies. The hidden cabin in the hills, far off the main road, was ready if they needed to run, but she hoped they wouldn't have, till Sirali was near. The small silver communicator Sirali had sent now glowed on the windowsill. Every few hours it blinked softly, like a heartbeat. Ayla kept it close, hoping for another message. But what came next wasn't a message, it was a knock, not on the door, on her mind. That night, while Ayla rested in the chair beside Luma's bed, she was pulled into another vision. But this time, it wasn't warm or peaceful. The sky was black. Tall towers made of metal and light rose from the ground. Creatures, tall, thin, and cold, moved through a control room, watching screens. On one screen was Earth. On another, a picture of Luma. One of the tall beings turned its head slowly. Its eyes, sharp and glowing red, looked directly at Ayla even inside the vision. "The child is marked," it said. "We will collect her." Ayla gasped and woke up, her heart pounding. She looked at Luma. The child stirred but didn't wake. Eli was still fast asleep in his bed. But outside, the woods were not still. There was movement. Ayla grabbed her flashlight and stepped onto the porch. Her hand rested on the small tool belt she always wore now. Inside were the metal band from the pod, a small signal beacon, and a flare gun. She moved silently toward the trees. Branches cracked softly nearby. Then she saw them. Two figures in dark suits crouched low near the edge of the clearing. They wore helmets with blinking red lights and held scanning devices. One of them spoke. No sign of the ship, but the child's energy trail leads here. Ayla stepped back slowly. She had seen enough. Whoever they were not from any government she trusted. They were something else. Maybe not even human. She returned to the house quietly and locked the doors. Her hands were shaking, but her mind was clear. It was time to act. The next morning, Ayla told Eli the truth. "There are people coming," she said. "They want to take Luma. We need to protect her." Eli didn't cry. He nodded. "Bravely, we can hide. Like in the forest game we played." "Yes," Ayla smiled sadly. "Just like that." They packed quickly. Ayla carried the communicator and the metal band. Luma wore a small scarf to cover the glow of her skin. Eli carried his backpack with his toy spaceship inside. They left the house through the back trail, hidden among thick trees. Ayla had made this path long ago, just in case. Now it was their only safe way out. The journey to the cabin took over an hour. The forest was quiet except for birds and the soft crunch of leaves underfoot. Ayla kept checking the communicator. Still no new message. Finally, they reached the cabin. It was small but safe, built from old stone and wood. Hidden under thick trees, it was nearly invisible from above. Inside, Ayla lit a fire and made some food. Luma sat by the window watching the sky. Her eyes looked distant. "She knows her mother is close," Ayla said softly to Eli. "But she also knows others are coming." That night, the communicator blinked twice. Then a soft hum filled the room. A hologram of Sirali appeared again. This time, her message was clear. "They are following me. I will land nearby. Find the place with the stone rings. I will come there. Be careful." The message ended. Ayla felt a lump in her throat. "The stone rings," she whispered. "I know where that is." Eli looked up. "The old circle, near the mountain?" "Yes." Ayla nodded. "It's not far. We can get there by morning." Before dawn, they packed again and left the cabin. The path to the stone rings led uphill through misty woods. The stone rings were an old circle of standing rocks, once used by native tribes, now forgotten by most. As the sun began to rise, they reached the circle. It was quiet. Too quiet. Ayla checked the communicator. It blinked 3 times, then glowed solid. Sirali was close. Suddenly, a bright light appeared. In the sky, not from the sun, a silver ship, sleek and smooth, lowered itself into the clearing beyond the trees. It hovered silent and beautiful. A ramp extended from its side. Luma's eyes lit up. She ran forward, but Ayla held her back. From the ship, a figure stepped out. Tall, graceful, glowing. Sirali. She ran forward, her arms wide. Luma broke free and rushed into her embrace. Mother and child held each other tightly, glowing softly in the morning light. Ayla felt tears on her cheeks. But the moment didn't last. Behind them, the ground shook. Another ship, black and sharp, appeared in the sky. They had been followed. Ayla stood in front of Sirali and Luma. She raised the metal band. It lit up brightly, reacting to the new ship. Somehow it connected with the alien technology. Sirali touched Ayla's shoulder. "You protected my daughter. Now let me protect you." She raised her hand toward the sky and her ship's shields activated, covering the stone circle in a shimmering dome. The black ship fired, but the shield held. For now. The moment of peace had come, but danger had followed, and The final test was about to begin. The shield around the stone circle shimmered like water in the morning light. Sirali stood in front of it, her body glowing with strength but her eyes full of worry. The black enemy ship hovered above the trees, its weapons ready. Ayla held Eli close. Luma stayed near her mother, her small hands gripping Sirali's arm. Who are they? Ayla asked. Sirali turned to her. They are called the Varnak. They do not believe in peace. They steal energy from young ones like Luma. To them, children are only tools. Ayla's heart sank. They were tracking her this whole time. Yes, Sirali said. I escaped them, but they followed me here. The black ship circled overhead. Then, with a deep hum, it sent out a wave of energy. The shield flickered for a second but held strong. They're testing it, Sirali said. They want to break it. Ayla looked at the ship, then back at Sirali. How do we stop them? Sirali looked around the circle of ancient stones. Her eyes narrowed. This place, it is old, very old. There is power here. Ayla nodded. The people who once lived here said the stones watched over them. They believed the land was alive. Sirali stepped to the center of the circle and placed her hand on the ground. The stones around her began to glow faintly. Then they were, right, there is energy deep below. I can use it to strengthen the shield, but I'll need time. Ayla's eyes met hers. Then we'll buy you time. Outside the shield, the enemy ship opened its side doors. Two tall silver creatures floated down to the forest floor. Their long arms held glowing tools. Their red eyes scanned the area. They're coming, Ayla said. Sirali nodded. I must stay here. Keep Luma safe. Ayla turned to Eli. You stay with Sirali, all right? Be brave. I'll come back. Eli nodded. Okay, Mom. Ayla checked her tool belt. The metal band from Luma's pod still glowed. She didn't know what it was fully, but it seemed to react to alien tech. She grabbed the flare gun and took a deep breath. Then she stepped outside the shield. The forest felt different now, heavier, like the trees were holding their breath. Ayla moved quickly but quietly, keeping to the shadows. The two Varnak scouts moved slowly, their heads scanning from side to side. Ayla crouched behind a log, watching. She had one chance. She took the flare gun, aimed high into the air, and fired. The flare exploded in bright red light. The Varnak turned instantly. Ayla ran. She led them away from the circle deep into the trees. She knew these woods better than anyone. If she could delay them long enough, Sirali might finish her work. Behind her, the Varnak followed fast. Their movements were smooth, almost gliding. Ayla reached a narrow ridge and crossed it quickly. Then she hid behind a boulder. When the first Varnak passed, she threw a stone. It hit a branch on the opposite side, drawing their attention. While they looked the other way, Ayla placed the glowing band on the ground. It began to pulse. The Varnak turned back, sensing it. As they moved toward the band, it flashed bright blue and released a wave of energy. The Varnak staggered. Ayla ran again. Back at the stone circle, Sirali sat with her eyes closed. Her body glowed as she channeled energy from the stones into the shield. Luma and Eli sat close beside her. She's brave, Eli said quietly, looking up at Luma. Luma nodded. Yes, your mother is strong. Eli smiled. So is yours. The ground trembled slightly. Sirali opened her eyes. They are close, she said. Ayla needs help. She reached into her ship and took out a small device. She handed it to Luma. Take this to Ayla, she said. It will protect her. Luma looked unsure. Sirali touched her cheek. You are not just a child anymore, she said. You are hope. Luma stood, holding the device tightly, and ran toward the forest. Ayla was out of breath. The glowing band had slowed the Varnak, but now they were chasing her again, and faster than before. Suddenly, a flash of light appeared in the trees. Luma ran out, holding the small device. Luma, what are you doing here? Luma raised the device. A soft light expanded around them, forming a protective bubble. The Varnock stopped just outside it. Ayla stared at the girl. "You saved me." Luma held her hand. "We save each other." Then, from the direction of the circle, a loud hum echoed through the forest. The shield had grown stronger. A new wave of energy burst from the stone ring, pushing outward like a pulse of light. It passed over the trees, over Ayla, Luma, and the Varnock. The enemy creatures froze. Their red eyes blinked once, then dimmed. They collapsed, motionless. Ayla and Luma walked back to the circle. Sirali stood in the center, her body glowing bright. Eli ran to his mother and hugged her tightly. "You did it," Ayla said. "You stopped them." Sirali nodded. "The power of this place. It was pure. It helped me reach them." "What will happen now?" Ayla asked. Sirali looked at the sky. "Others may come, but not yet. For now it is safe." She turned to Ayla and lowered her head gently. "You gave my daughter safety, a home, love. You asked nothing in return." "Thank you." Ayla smiled. "She gave me something too. She reminded me how strong a mother can be." Sirali looked at Luma, then back at Ayla. "I must leave soon, but may I ask something?" Ayla's heart skipped. "Of course." Sirali looked around, then spoke softly. "May I stay with you too?" The air was still. Ayla looked at Luma, then at Eli. Both were smiling. She took Sirali's hand and nodded. "Welcome home." The morning sun rose gently over the hills, painting the sky in soft shades of gold and pink. The battle was over, the Varnock scouts defeated, and peace had returned. For now. Ayla stood at the edge of the stone circle, watching the sunrise. Beside her stood Sirali, quiet but thoughtful. Behind them, Eli and Luma laughed together, tossing pebbles into a small stream that ran near the clearing. Their laughter was soft but bright. Like music in the quiet forest, Sirali turned to Ayla. "I didn't expect kindness here. I thought humans would fear me." Ayla smiled. "Some might, but not all of us. Not when we see someone who only wants to protect her child." The alien mother looked down, her expression warm. "Luma changed me. I was a soldier once, cold, trained to follow orders, but when I held her in my arms, I became something else. I became a mother." Ayla nodded. "I understand. It changes everything, doesn't it?" Sirali looked at Ayla carefully. "You didn't have to help us, but you did." Ayla shrugged. "Maybe I was meant to. Maybe your ship didn't land by accident." The day passed slowly but peacefully. Ayla, Sirali, and the children gathered around a small campfire near the ship. Sirali had sealed the circle with a protective energy field, making the area invisible to any passing drones or scanners. "It will hold for some time," she said. "But not forever. Others may still come, especially if they find out we're still alive." "Then what will we do?" Eli asked. Sirali looked at him kindly. "We prepare. And we live." Ayla stood up and stretched. "There's something I want to show you. All of you." She led them down a hidden trail through the woods, past a tall oak tree and a small waterfall. After about 20 minutes of walking, they reached a wide field. The grass was tall and soft. In the middle stood a cozy old house, Ayla's second home, once her grandparents' farm. "It's not big," Ayla said, "but it's safe, quiet, and full of memories." Sirali walked slowly toward the house. She touched the wooden door and looked at the carved names on the frame. Generations of Ayla's family. "You want us to live here?" she asked. "If you want to," Ayla said. "There's space, and we're stronger together." Luma stepped forward, her eyes wide with joy. "Can I plant flowers here?" Ayla laughed. "As many as you like." Over the next few days, the two families worked together. Ayla and Eli cleaned the house while Sirali used her advanced tools to repair broken walls and upgrade the energy system. Luma created a garden with glowing plants from her world and flowers from Earth. The mix was strange but beautiful. At night, they sat around a warm fire, sharing stories. Sirali told tales of distant stars and glowing cities in space. Ayla spoke of Earth season storms and music. Eli taught Luma how to roast marshmallows. Luma taught Eli how to make tiny floating lights with her fingers. One evening, as they sat under the stars, Sirali asked Ayla a question. "Do you ever wish things were normal again?" Ayla thought for a moment. Then she shook her head. Normal was lonely. Now I have a new family. Sirali smiled. So do I. But peace never lasts forever. One morning a sound echoed through the valley, a deep humming like thunder trapped in a bottle. Ayla ran outside. A strange ship appeared in the sky. It wasn't black like the Varnock. It was silver, but larger than Sirali's. Sirali stepped out beside her, eyes narrowed. "They are not Varnock," she said, "but they are not friends either. This is the Galactic Council. They govern space laws. They are here because of the signal from the battle." Ayla's heart pounded. "Will they take Luma?" "I don't know," Sirali replied. "They may. Try." The ship landed softly in the far field. A group of beings stepped out, tall, with glowing suits and calm eyes. One of them approached. "I am Envoy Terral of the Galactic Council," he said. "We received distress signals. We traced the conflict to this location." Sirali stood firm. "The conflict is over. We are safe now." The envoy looked at Luma, who peeked from behind Eli. "That child holds rare energy," he said. "She must be examined, protected." "Protected?" Ayla asked, stepping forward. "Or locked away?" "We follow protocol," the envoy replied. Ayla's voice grew steady. "She has a home now, a family. That's protection." Sirali stepped beside her. "We fought for peace. We will not give it up." The envoy paused, then looked around. "This planet, it is simple, unwatched, but it is filled with strong hearts." He looked at Ayla. "You are human, yet you defended a being not your own. Why?" Ayla answered without hesitation. "Because love doesn't ask where you come from. It only asks who you are." There was silence. Then the envoy nodded slowly. "Very well, the child may stay, but be warned, others will come. Not all will ask first." Sirali bowed her head. "We will be ready." The council ship lifted quietly into the sky and vanished into the stars. As the dust settled, Ayla looked at Sirali. "That was close," Sirali smiled. "But you stood your ground. Again." Ayla chuckled. "I'm getting used to it." Later that night, as the stars twinkled above and the children slept soundly, Ayla sat beside Sirali on the porch. "So what?" "Now?" Ayla asked. "We live," Sirali replied. "We teach, we protect, and we hope," Ayla added. "Yes," Sirali agreed. "We hope that the future will be better than the past." The two mothers sat in peace, stars above and family. Inside, together, they were strong. Together, they were home. Months passed quietly after the visit from the Galactic Council. The old farmhouse was no longer just a shelter. It had become a real home. In the mornings, sunlight poured through the windows. Luma and Eli would race through the fields, laughing and chasing glowing butterflies that Sirali had released into the garden. Ayla often watched them from the porch, coffee in hand, her heart calm for the first time in years. Sirali had learned many things about Earth. She had helped Ayla build a small greenhouse, using both human tools and alien technology. Inside, strange fruits grew beside tomatoes and herbs. Sirali said they were called lyra pods, sweet and soft with a silver skin. They became Eli's favorite snack. But more than the plants or machines, Sirali learned about people. She listened to Ayla's stories of human struggles, of war, love, loneliness, and hope. And Ayla learned too. She came to understand the stars weren't just cold or empty. They were full of life, stories, and mothers, just like her, fighting to protect their children. One clear night, Sirali looked up at the stars and whispered, I never thought I'd call such a place home. Ayla smiled beside her. Earth is strange like that. It grows on you. One morning, while the children helped in the garden, a sound echoed again through the sky. It wasn't loud. It was soft, distant, like a song carried by the wind. Sirali stood up quickly, her eyes focused. That's not a normal signal, she said. It's a whisper code. Ancient, almost forgotten. Ayla looked at her. From who? I don't know. But it's calling me. Not to fight, but to return. She walked to her ship and activated a small display. Strange symbols glowed, then turned into words Ayla could understand. Safe zone established. Varnock defeated in Sector 3. Families may return. Sirali stared at the screen, silent. Ayla stepped forward. What does this mean? Sirali turned to her. It means there is a place out there now. A new colony. Not a war zone, a real home for my people. For children like Luma. Ayla nodded slowly. That's good, isn't it? Yes, Sirali whispered. It's what I've always hoped for. There was a pause between them. Will you go? Ayla asked quietly. Sirali looked at the house, at the fields, at Luma and Eli laughing under the sun. Then she looked at Ayla, her voice soft. Not alone. That night under the stars, Sirali and Ayla sat with the children. The stars were brighter than ever before. I want to ask you something, Sirali said. Ayla, will you come with us? Ayla blinked. To space? Yes, Sirali said. To see what's out there, to help build something new. You've already given us a home on Earth. Maybe now together, we can give hope to others. Eli looked up at his mom. Can we go, Mom? Please, I want to see the stars. Luma took Ayla's hand. You're my Earth mother. I want you with me. Ayla felt her chest tighten. Her heart raced, but not from fear. From something else. From a new beginning. She looked at the stars, then at the family beside her. Yes, she said at last. Let's go. The next weeks were full of preparation. Sirali adjusted her ship for longer travel. Ayla packed photos, journals, and keepsakes from the farmhouse. They visited Ayla's neighbors, explaining that she and Eli were going on a long journey. No, one truly believed her, but she smiled and said, Sometimes life takes you to places you never imagined. The day of departure came quickly. The ship rose gently from the field, leaving only soft grass behind. Ayla looked out the window and saw the earth growing smaller. She felt a deep peace, not because she was leaving, but because she knew she wasn't running away. She was moving forward with family beside her. Sirali sat at the pilot's seat. Luma sat next to Eli, both of them wide-eyed and excited. As the stars drew closer, Ayla turned to Sirali. Do you think they'll accept us there, me and Eli? Sirali reached over and took her hand. You are family, and where there is family, there is home. The ship landed on a quiet moon, green and blue, full of strange but gentle life. Other families like Sirali's had already begun to build. Homes shaped like crystals shimmered in the light. Children played together in the fields. The air was warm, safe. Ayla looked around, amazed. A small alien child ran up to them and gave Luma a flower. Eli gave the child a drawing he made on the ship. Luma whispered to Ayla, It's already starting to feel like home. Sirali nodded. Because you're here. Ayla looked at the bright sky above and smiled. For the first time in a long time, she didn't feel like just a human. She felt like something more, something stronger, and so, a human mother and an alien. Mother, once strangers, now family, built a life together beyond stars and species, guided by love, courage, and the unbreakable bond between parent and child. In a galaxy full of fear and war, they proved one simple truth. Home is not a place. Home is the people you choose to protect, and they chose each other. The end.